So we'll start today's practice in a comfortable seat, sitting on blocks, but feel free just to sit in a cross-legged position. So whenever you feel good, just begin to slowly breathe, allow the eyes to close. And although we have a focus on our physical practice today, of course there is always that element of awareness, dropping into our body and really experiencing what we're feeling as a human in this moment. Allow the eyes to close and just the body relax to start with. Very good. The next inhale, let's take the hands to the center. Press the palms together, the fingertips together. Exhale completely, and as you inhale, lift the hands all the way up, reaching with the hands, stretching through the spine. Keep the shoulders relaxed so we're not shrugging. And as we exhale, take the right hand down to the right, walk the fingers, and just gently lean over, finding the stretch down the left-hand side of the body. And I want you to lift your rib cage, but keep the hip still. It's almost like you're pinning the hip down and lifting the rib cage up. And then we inhale, we lift all the way back up to the center, and as we exhale, we send the left hand down, inhale, exhale over. So just using these initial stretches to feel into where your body's at. Breathe in and breathe out. Perfect. You might find that you get a little bit deeper each time. That's absolutely fine. And exhale across. And one more time over to the right. And over to the left. Perfect. Bring it back to the center. And send the hands down and out to the side. So we're going to bring a little bit of openness to the shoulder and the back. Just warm up the upper body, ready for our lunges because it's all connected. So we're going to take, there we go, we're going to take the left hand to face up, and then we're going to roll the right hand the opposite way and take your gaze over to the left hand. Finding a nice stretch through the biceps and the shoulders. Exhale completely. And as we inhale, rotate the thumbs round the opposite direction so that your right hand faces up and you take your gaze across. Breathe in and out. And each time you flow with this, just feel the rotations of the shoulder just begin to loosen off a little bit. Very good. And one last time, over to the right and over to the left. Okay, release the hands down. We should have some nice warmth to the shoulders there. Untuck the legs if they are, and then bring yourself to a kneeling position. Okay, we're going to jump straight in to today's lunge practice. And what we're going to do here is just send the left foot up. And I want you to use blocks or your fists or anything that you need to keep the spine nice and straight here. And as we inhale, we're going to extend the chest, lengthen through the spine. And as we exhale, we're just going to drop forward into the hips. So we're going to feel a bit of a stretch on the inside of the left leg, maybe in the hip flexors of the right leg. And as we breathe in, we're then going to bring the hips back, but we're going to focus on keeping it tilted. So we're not going to tuck them round at the back when we come back. So as we come back, keep it tilted, keep the spine straight. And this is going to really lengthen that stretch into the hamstring. Now, if you want to feel that stretch even more, what you can do is draw the toes backwards as well. And then what we can do then is just breathe between the two postures, and almost like we're flossing between the stretch. We're going to use our breath to just loosen everything off, but being very mindful of our hip position. Very good. And we can really start to feel where the stretches are, the tightnesses. And this is going to be really useful information as we develop our lunge. Okay. Okay, and let's hold here. Drop all the way forward into those hips. And then lift out. So we're just into like a neutral position here. We need to lift your hands up and take that left foot in to where the left hand was. So we have a nice lunge base. We're going to send the hands up to our chest. We're going to find a twist here. So inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to send that right elbow across the left knee. Okay? Now, equal pressure between the left elbow and the knee. And we're going to use that to draw ourselves round into a twist. And where you may also find this is a nice deep stretch down the left glute and the left side of the thighs. Okay, and release that round. Send the hands down and just let that left foot go. Heel toe it round and release it back. Okay, turn around for the opposite side. But all we're going to do is send the right foot up. Use your blocks if you need to keep the spine nice and long. When we use the blocks as well, what we do is we keep the hip free. If you're rounding a lot, it can be very difficult to then find the rotation to the hip. So use your blocks as much as you need. And then we're just going to breathe into it as we exhale. We're going to drop into that hip. And as we inhale, we're going to push it back. Really focusing on the hip movements the whole time. So trying to keep that tilt to the tailbone as we push back, not tucking underneath and rounding. Keep that nice tilt and forward. Keeping that nice flossing movement. Doesn't matter if your knee is bent, as long as you're feeling that stretch and warming it up. This is one of the stretches that I use literally every morning and even in the evening. Just a nice way of waking everything up and feeling where you're at for the day. Okay, drop in, breathe into it. And release that back up. Heel toe that right foot in. Lift up the chest, lengthen through the spine, palms together, breathe in. And exhale to twist, sending the left elbow across the right knee, equal pressure, and then bring yourself around to twist. Hold. Keeping that balance down for the big toe. And inhale to release. Okay, beautiful. Now what we're going to do here is slightly different. We're going to keep the front foot where it is. We're going to take the blocks either side of the foot if you need. You can just keep your feet there if you have that flexibility. And we're going to tuck the toes of the back leg. And what we're going to do here is we're going to straighten the front leg and send the hips back and straighten that back leg deep into this nice pyramid stretch. The hips are square. Perfect. Now, if you need to flatten that back foot, you can, but if you just keep on the ball of your foot there and try and keep the weight even between the front foot and the back foot, because what we want to be able to do is find a balance where we can lift the hands off and the weight is through the body. Okay, be mindful that our hips don't open out, we keep them square. So if we were to have little torches on the side of our hips, are both facing forward. Keep the spine nice and long and your gaze down towards your feet. If you find your hands are on the floor and we're really bending here, we want to be able to use the blocks so that we can keep our hip mechanics open and free. Okay, very good. From this position, we're going to bend the front leg, big step through, send the left foot forward, take a nice deep forward fold, send the hands behind the thighs, behind the ankles, or into Padahastasana underneath the feet if you wish. Let everything hang. Okay, release your fold. Take the weight into the left foot, hands to the blocks. Inhale, send that right foot back onto the balls of the feet and then straighten that front leg. Keep the hips nice and square. Find your balance, even between both feet. And whilst you're in this position, you can keep working that tailbone into your tilt. So you have control the whole way. Again, if we can control that without our hands, brilliant. Can even bring them into prayer here. Breathe into your stretch. This is strong. You're developing strength, coordination, but also flexibility. Very good. And on the next inhale, bend the front leg, big step through, toes together. Perfect, okay. Send the fingers to the side of the feet. Tilt the tailbone, bend at the knees, bring the bum down towards the floor. And then from here, we're going to raise the hands forward into chair pose. Hold. Keep your neck nice and in line. Squeeze the glutes, push into the feet, into the floor. 3, 2, 1. Press all the way up into Tadasana. Squeeze the glutes, draw the diaphragm back. Nice long posture. Beautiful, guys, you're doing really, really well. Okay. Just take a moment here. Take a breath. Okay. Now, whilst you just focus into Tadasana, I'm going to show you what we're going to do into the next posture. We're going to take just a long lunge. But what this is for is to develop our hip extension. If we're a bit tight in this quad, this is really going to help. When we're in yoga, we can often open up or keep the hips square. And today we want to focus on keeping the hips square, and we're going to focus on this muscle here. So this, depending on your flexibility, can be a really short stance, or you can even work this back all the way into a front split. So wherever you are, I'm pretty confident you're going to be able to find a stretch for you. So I'm just going to demonstrate from the front of your mat. We're going to keep the feet hips width apart. So I'm going to take my right foot to the edge of the right mat. And as I send that back, I'm going to keep that right ball of the foot on the edge of the mat. And then I know that my feet are hips width apart. Excellent. Keep the hips square. And we're going to stay on the ball of the foot. And as we inhale, we're going to lift up through the chest. And as we exhale, we're just going to bend at the front leg. We're going to send that forward. We're going to keep the torso stacked over the hips. And as I do that, I can even feel this getting tight to the point it's wanting to bend a little bit. So I'm going to have to use some hamstring strength to send that knee back and find that hip extension, to find that stretch into the hip flexor. Very good. That's it. All we're going to do is hold here. If your hands want to be in Namaskara, then they can be. If they just want to be by the sides, out to the side, finding balance, or even on the front leg, absolutely fine. Okay, take the weight to the left and the right foot, nice and even. Okay, and what I want you to do now is to see if you can kind of scissor the floor with your feet, like you're trying to squeeze the mat. So just gently, with about 20% of your effort, try and squeeze the mat. You should feel yourself wanting to lift up. And you're trying to create a ripple to your mat. And then we're going to relax and just see if we can send that back leg a little bit further. Perfect. Hold. Keep those hips square, the torch is facing forward. Squeeze the mat. And relax. Send that back if you wish. Send that right knee back. 2. Hold. Now, big press out of this. We're going to step through the left leg Lift that right knee all the way up as if we're coming into a tree pose. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze and hold. And relax. Beautiful. Well done. Okay, nice and strong, but a really good way of working on opening up your hips, but maintaining your lunge kind of motor patterns. When you get this right, you can extend to front splits, you can add folds, you can add twists, but this is the base position for many postures like Anjaneyasana Asana, for warrior. So let's work on this on the opposite side. Come into your Tadasana, hips width apart, weight into the right leg, inhale, send that left foot back to the edge of your mat. You might find that one leg feels a little bit more open than the other. Okay, turn the hips, become nice and centered on both feet. You find that stretch, inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale, bend to that front leg. So I'm feeling that a lot more in this one today. Okay, and just settle into this. Find the balance between the left and right foot. Focus keeping those hips square. Okay, and then I'm going to squeeze the mat with my leg. I'm going to create a bit of tension to the muscles. And as we relax that stretch, it's just going to give you a little bit of space to go deeper. You feel like you can't go any more, hold there. Breathe, focus. Almost there. Okay, and we're going to take a nice big press through that right leg. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And press all the way up into your balance. And relax back in to Tadasana. Well done, give those legs a shake. Okay, very, very good. Now let's see this in action. Let's come into Anjaneyasana here. So we're going to do the same, but what we're going to do is add a slight back bend as well. So we're going to take up the same position. We're going to take the weight into the left leg, lift up the right and extend it back. Keep it hips width apart. Find the corner of your mat. Very good. Send the hands to the center. Now we're going to get nice and even through the feet. Take a deep breath in and exhale down into your lunge. Get even in that back leg before we extend into a back bend. You can keep your hands to your chest, but if it's in your practice, what we can do is exhale completely and inhale, send the hands up and then slightly lean back. This is going to make the stretch a lot stronger, so you can keep the hands here and just lean back. So find what works for you. We'll make sure that the base is right first. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale, release the back bend and then step back through with control. Beautiful. Okay, we'll come straight into the opposite side. Take the weight into the right foot. Inhale, left foot back. Perfect. Feel nice and even between the left foot and the right foot. Square the hips. Feel into the big toes. You want to be pressing down into the big toe like you're creating that nice dimple to the mat. Okay, breath in. And then exhale into that front leg, send that back leg high. Inhale and exhale. We should feel the spine becoming nice and long. We shouldn't feel like there's any hinging or compression to the lower back. We want to feel like our chest is lifting up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold here for 2 more breaths. And exhale, release the back bend. And a nice strong press up all the way to the front. into Tadasana. Very good. Well done, everybody. Okay, just take a moment into Tadasana. Just regain your focus. If your breath is quickened, just breathe it back. There's a lot to be said about putting ourselves into difficult conditions, postures that challenge us, that find our edges, not just physically, but our mental edges, where we often see, the thoughts pop up like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And, the opportunity to overcome these as well as your physical challenges is a real good way of deepening your spiritual practice too. So we're going to bring ourselves into one more posture here, and we're going to come into standing split. So whilst you're into that, I'm just going to demonstrate. We're going to put the blocks out in front. I'm going to create a triangle between our foot and the two blocks. And again, working on the lunge part of this, I'm going to step up, and this time, as we send that right leg back, instead of placing it to the floor, I'm going to see if we can keep it going back horizontally, pressing the hands down to our blocks, keeping that right leg high, keeping your gaze between the blocks. I'm going to hold here, and as before, we want to find the weight into the left leg. We should be able to take the hands off the blocks. They're there for support. If you can finish the posture in to Namaskara, where you're keeping your hands to your chest, then they're brilliant. If not, use your blocks. Okay, very good. So when we're ready, we'll come to the front of our mat, use blocks if we have them or need them. Take the weight to the left leg, lift up the right, keep the hips forward, tilt the tailbone, forward fold, chest goes forward, right leg goes backwards, hands press down to the blocks. Use your right glute to keep that leg nice and strong. You can point the toes or keep the toes flexed, it's up to you. See if you can lengthen through the crown too. Press down through the left foot. A lot going on in this pose. Two more breaths. And relax down. Send the right leg to meet the left. Let everything hang in the forward fold. And then uncurl the spine all the way back up. Good. Now we're just going to come to the opposite side. I'm going to take the weight into the right leg. Oh, with the blocks. Create that triangle with the right foot. Inhale, lift up the left. Here, when you do lift up, make sure that you really lift up through that right side. Lift up those hips, and then we begin to tilt forward. Very good. Breathe. Focus. Two more breaths. And relax back down. Beautiful. Send the left foot next to the right. Let everything hang over. Take underneath the foot. We're going to send the hands down to the mat. Bring the knees underneath the hips. Perfect. Okay. And tell you what we can do here is let's take the knees wide and we'll come into a wide child's pose. So tilt the tailbone, press everything back, and then just allow the hands and chest and forehead to melt towards the mat. And the next inhale, lift everything up, bringing the body out. Bring the knees underneath. Okay, very good. Okay. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow just to loosen off any compression, or not compression, but just to loosen off anything from our lunge. Just using your breath to guide you. And we're just going to shift this stage of our practice into our own intuition here. You're going to let go of really focusing on technique and just let your body find what it needs to. Okay. And one more on the exhale, bring the chin to chest, tuck the tailbone, push into the hands. And release. Very good. Slowly walk the hands forward and the elbows forward. We're going to move into a Sphinx posture here. We're going to point the toes, squeeze the glutes, elbows underneath the shoulders or slightly back. We're going to create a bit of friction with the palms and the elbows. We're going to draw that backwards. So it's like we're trying to draw the mat backwards, but that's going to bring our chest forward. We're going to press into the elbows. We're going to squeeze the bum and point the toes nice and strong on our posterior chain. And our gaze is forward. And gently as you exhale, release the spine, release your back bend. And as you do so, we're going to roll to our back in a way that feels good for you. And we're going to take the heels up towards our fingertips. And we're going to press in to our feet so we can come into bridge posture, to Setu Bandhasana. We're going to come onto our shoulder blades. Keep the chin away from the chest. We want to be even through the left foot and the right foot. From this position, see if you can press down into the right leg. Keep the hip nice and strong and send the left foot forward. From this position, see if you can send that left foot back and send the hands not to reach it, but lift them towards it. And then we're going to take that left foot down, swap over to the right, send that right foot up. And down. Hold your bridge. And release that down. Send the knees to your chest. Take the toes, the big toe with your index, middle finger for happy baby. Very good. And release the heels down. Extend the feet to find the corners of your mat. And bring yourself into Shavasana. We're just going to spend a few moments in silence. So make any adjustments you need. Allow your body to completely relax and let your efforts go. I will guide you out when the time is right. wherever we are in our silence. Bring yourself back to your body. Bring yourself back to your breath. Slowly begin to move your fingers and toes at your own pace. There's no rush. When it feels good for you, you can join me in a seat. Finish today's practice with a gentle meditation. Keep the gaze soft, the eyes closed, whatever feels good for you. Our yoga practice is so much more than just stretching the body, then relaxing the mind. And those are amazing things. Those are amazing benefits that you will experience. But your practice is also a way of finding edges. Finding the edges spiritually, mentally, and physically gives you the opportunity to push into times of discomfort, to look into our personal fears and our personal edges, like the times when we say we can't do something, or we feel that a pose is beyond us. And bit by bit, we overcome that by continually putting ourselves onto the mat and doing our best. You begin to create and cultivate will. And this resilience of mind is just as much a part of yoga as anything else. It's that consistency, that commitment that you make every time you step onto your mat. And these lessons you can only really experience and feel within our life by doing. By actually practicing. Okay, we'll finish today there. Let's bring the hands to our center. Press the palms together. Let's create some energy here. Blinking open the eyes when you're ready. Namaste, beautiful people. Thank you, wonderful human, for practicing with me. Now, if you want to deepen your practice or join me live and practice online with me, head on over to human-movement.co.uk. Here you'll find our online health and yoga studio called the Human Yoga Collective, where you'll get access to all of our classes live and recorded, as well as myself as your personal yoga teacher, and our courses to help you step onto your yoga mat with confidence, with a big smile on your face, and to build a practice that lasts a lifetime. Okay, see you there.